Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another edition of Dark Powerrr. Now, it's been a little while since I got to talk to you guys about all things Dark Elevation and NWA Powerrr. We had the new year. Happy New Year, everybody. But then I had to travel down to Tampa for a wedding, and between New Year shenanigans and a Tampa Bay wedding, schedules got a little crossed. But luckily, all of that has now been put to bed. We will be returning back to our regularly scheduled once a week fireside chat, if you will, when it comes to Dark Elevation and Powerrr. Now, luckily, the guys and gals putting on Dark and Elevation and NWA Powerrr decided to make things a little easy on me by not having some crazy, incredible stuff to talk about. That's not to say that there isn't good quality stuff to talk about, but there was nothing that was super duper must see, except for maybe one match. So let's get into it, guys, and I'll see you guys right after the intro. All right, guys, we are here. We are here to talk about NWA Powerrr, AEW Dark, AEW Elevation, as you know. Thank you guys for tuning in. And remember, hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe if you have not already. Also consider joining our Patreon. $3 a month is the entry-level tier. So let's talk about NWA Powerrr first. Powerrr was kind of a weird episode in that things happened, but it just felt, I don't know, kind of weird. I guess, I don't know, I gotta find a better way to properly describe it, but it just felt as though it was treading water. The coolest thing about Powerrr happened, technically speaking, after the episode ended. So we start off with the Rude Dudes having a interview at the desk with Kyle. They're talking about how Jamie Stanley is going to be in the NWA Junior Heavyweight Tournament. Again, we haven't received a lot of information about this. We know that Austin Aries is in the tournament. We know that Homicide is in the tournament. But besides that, there's really not much. But we know now that Jamie Stanley is going to be in this qualifying match that's coming up, and it's a fatal four-way, and he defeats Alex Taylor, Jeremiah Plunkett, and Robles. The match itself is just kind of, okay, it's a classic kind of everybody's ganging up on Stanley because he's clearly the heel that everybody needs to take down. He's going to find dastardly ways to get the job done, and he's going to pull out the victory. The main thing to know is that we finally get some clarification about what's going to be happening with this junior heavyweight tournament. And that's when we find out that NWA USA, their new show going to be airing on YouTube, is going to have this tournament, and we will be seeing Luke Hawx versus PJ Hawx as part of the debut episode. I think the way we will be covering NWA USA here on Dark Powerrr is I'm not going to be talking about it every single week unless there's something that really stands out to me or some storyline that seems pretty interesting or cool. If you guys if there's something that you want me to, if you see something on NWA USA that you think is interesting, leave it in the comments and I will address it or talk about it as soon as I see those comments. But it just is kind of a situation where the NWA really does seem like it's treading water. And I don't know if this is... They need to take steps in the right direction, and I don't know if this is necessarily going to be something. I'm interested to see how it all turns out, but a part of me is just like their booking decisions have really left some head scratchers in the past month or so. But we'll see how it all turns out. One thing that I do like, or I have liked, is the storyline between Tyrus and Scion, and we see that continued here when Scion is forced to take on Jordan Clearwater and Marsh Crockett in a 2-on-1 handicap match. As you will remember, Scion said he's willing to do anything for another shot. So Austin Idol of Idol Sports Management says, hey, you want the shot against Tyrus, you got to beat both my guys at the same time. And Scion says, all right, well, if that's what's got to happen, that's what's got to happen. But unfortunately, after 5 minutes, 20 seconds, he's unable to do so. And Scion loses. And I'm not sure if this just means that the storyline is over. I don't know exactly how. And this goes back to what I was just saying about booking decisions. Sometimes they jump from storyline to storyline or drop things and pick things up with very little continuation. It's really unfortunate because Powerrr was one of the better booked shows when it came to wrestling back in 2019. And then the pandemic hit, and they just kind of lost their way. And one of the things that we can say that they're trying to get better at is their women's division. And I like how Camille has been booked. I like the storyline so far, but I want to see more of it. And that was one thing that I did like about the next thing that we're actually going to talk about. Not that I'm trying to make these segues, but it works because next we have a tag match with Camille and Missa Kate versus Kylie Ray and Tootie Len. Now, there's a little bit of an interview before the match happens, and we can kind of see that there aren't the warmest of feelings between Missa Kate and Camille. Missa Kate kind of seems like she is more focused on trying to hurt Kylie because of their freelance wrestling connection. Freelance is home. As opposed to just straight up winning the match. And she's also talking some smack towards Camille herself, and we know that the Brick House does not appreciate anything when it comes to some kind of smack talk towards her. The match was fairly good. I liked it. It told a nice story of Camille and Missa Kate not being able to work together, Camille being forced to come in a few times to bail out the team because she refused to want to lose, and then eventually getting to the point that she just had enough. And as it turns out, Missa Kate's going to lose this match by submission. Smart move, protecting your champion. Camille was not involved in the finish. Camille doesn't look bad in any way, shape, or form. And then Camille can look at Missa Kate as she did and say, you tapped. You tapped? But of all things, you tapped? Because pinning somebody is one thing. Anybody can beat you for 3 seconds. You're knocked out, whatever the hell case may be. But when you tap, that was a willing decision. You made the decision to quit. That's something that's important. So I like that the match told a good story. I want to see where they're going to go with Camille and to determine who her next challenger is going to be. That's something that I'm definitely interested to see. We do have a segment where there was a weird segment with Dango, JTG just talking shit. It was good for what it was supposed to be, I think. But part of the problem is that NWA has conditioned us that certain people are going to be able to advance and certain people aren't. So I don't like pairing Dango with JTG is fine, but it also at the same time, it's just like where's it realistically going to go? Do I believe that they're going to be able to get tag title shots? Do I believe they're going to be tag champions? Not really, but I guess we'll see how it all shakes out. We do have a little confrontation between the OGK coming over from Fusion of Honor to Dark Powerrr, where they are confronting the Fixers and Colby Carino. There's a little jaw-jacking back and forth. Matt Taven gets a match with Wrecking Ball Legerski, and it's probably, I would say, one of the better matches of the night. because Taven is a really solid hand in the ring. He's not the greatest, but he knows how to move. He knows how to work. And he knows how to make somebody like Legerski look really, really good even in defeat. Because we know that Taven's probably picking up this win. Matt Taven's a former Ring of Honor world champion. Wrecking Ball Legerski is named Wrecking Ball Legerski. I'm not expecting him to win. But Taven does an excellent job of making himself look as though Legerski can get the win. And that's very important in wrestling. So shout out to Taven for putting on a good match and Legerski for doing his job of looking like a really, really dominant strongman until just that little bit of experience that Taven has is what gives him the edge. We have a little promo from Genocide where she basically says Paola and Tarantrell are on their own, and we go into this match with Natalia Markova versus Paola Blaze. The less I can say about this one, the better. This match really did not do much, but I also didn't have any crazy expectations for it. I don't think Paola Blaze is that talented of a wrestler. And Natalia Markova also, I mean, I've seen her on Dark before. We've seen her here in the NWA. It just doesn't, I don't know, not too much from about her stands out to me. And the match had a bunch of sloppy moments in it. But for what I think they were trying to get, sure. It just seems a little weird because I keep using that word weird, but it seems a little weird because the story to me should be more about the dominance of the heels, and then you've got the mountain for Genocide to climb. Even if Paola is not going to win the match in a dominant fashion through strength or through just skill, she should be winning it through underhanded tactics. Because if she and or Taryn step into the ring again with Genocide's like 4 times their size, height-wise, strength-wise, speed-wise. You need to give the heel some kind of edge so that I believe, or we, the viewer, believes that Genocide is in danger of losing the match. But if Paola Blaze is just getting worked over by Markova for a lot of this match, then why do I have any reason to care about any potential Blaze Tarantrell versus Genocide match? Something to think about. Finally, in our main event, we have La Rebellion taking on, and Homicide taking on the Dane event of Jax Dane and Odinson and Pero. And I'll admit, I watched all this a couple days before I'm doing this filming, this recording, and I kind of forgot exactly what happened in this main event. And then I was looking through the thumbnails that I have saved, and I was just like, man, this is hilarious. Because almost at no point in this match, outside of the beginning, this triple super collider that you see, do you feel as though La Rebellion and Homicide are in danger of losing the match? And they should have not won. And that's the way to look at this. They should have not won instead of winning. It's not even losing. They should have just not won. Because this whole thing about the Dane event was that Jax Dane has this championship opportunity in his pocket. The whole thing about Jax Dane was that he main evented a pay-per-view in a steel cage against Crimson, who is now called Anthony Mayweather. The whole thing about this was that you were combining a deadly element in the end and Jax Dane, who is supposed to be this powerhouse, together, and we're going to get the Dane event, and they're going to be really freaking fucking good. Why the hell are they losing this match? I get that La Rebellion are tag team champions. And maybe if they lost, maybe I'd be sitting here wondering whether or not the NWA is valuing their tag champions by having them lose. But you could have had Homicide take the pin, And then I'd say the same thing that I said up above about Misa Kate taking the pin with the tag match with Camille. You're protecting the champions. But if the entire purpose, like, why would you give somebody a pay-per-view main event where they won, mind you? It's not that he main evented against Crimson and lost. He main evented in a steel cage match against Crimson and he won. So you're telling me that this is somebody to look for. This is somebody to pay attention to. This is somebody who's supposed to be a threat. Why is he not a threat? And the End lost. They won that tournament, and then they lost to La Rebellion for the tag titles. Now they're losing again. The whole thing was we're going to add Jax Dane, and we're going to be better. They weren't better. They lost. Again. You're making me not care about these heels. Not in the sense that I'm supposed to care about the heels, like I don't want them to get hurt, but you're making me not care about them as threats to your faces, threats to your champions. If Jax Dane wants to turn around and go after Trevor Murdoch down the road, I don't give a shit. Whereas before, I kind of gave a shit. Because Jax Dane came across as though somebody who could beat Trevor Murdoch. He beats Crimson in a steel cage, and now he's losing in a damn 6-man tag match. And yes, I understand, maybe this is the beginning of a story and the heels are going to win, but it just feels wrong. And it goes back to, if you're not Trevor Murdoch, if you're not Nick Aldis, if you're not Mickie James, if you're not Camille, are you somebody who's going to be able to win? And are you going to be somebody who is credible? That's an issue. So that was NWA Powerrr, and I kind of want to see where they're going to go from this for the next week's episode. And I want to see how that juniors tournament's going to shake out. But if we're talking about the thing that was, the most talked about part of Powerrr, or the most important part of Powerrr, is the stinger at the end of the episode. So if you watched, at the end of the episode, after the credits, there is, and I wanted to get some thumbnails, but I was like, this is a little too creepy to put on free TV with all the little children watching. But there's a stinger where Saul Renaro is got this super duper creepy promo. He looks like he's possessed. He looks like he's in some satanic dungeon, even though it's like pretty much a close up on his face. And he's doing a really good job of convincing me that probably water with red food coloring and or maybe actually wine that he drank was like fucking blood. And he is going to the dark side. He is turning into a vampire or some shit. I don't know. Somebody call Celine from Underworld to see if he needs some help with his turning. But it was really good, I gotta say. And that's actually the thing I'm most invested in. I want to see what happens with this happy-go-lucky dude who is giving up on life. He is committing himself. We'll say committing himself to Judas and to Father James Mitchell. And what is it going to do? Is it going to turn him into somebody this batshit crazy awesome dude who wrestles and beats the piss out of people? I'm here for it because Saul Renaro otherwise is kind of a joke. So it would just be such a great turn from what he was before that as long as it's compelling television, I'm interested. And this is definitely compelling television. But yeah, so hopefully now they just have stingers of that after every single episode, and it just gets weirder and weirder. And I just want to know. part of me is like, when we start an episode of Powerrr, let's go all the way to the end, see if there's a stinger, and then go back and watch the rest of the episode, because that's definitely more important than everything else they're doing on the show. But let's turn towards AEW Dark and Elevation. Elevation, not too much. This is kind of the same. If Powerrr is treading water, then Elevation has concrete boots on right now. But Dark has some interesting things, starting with this match here between Tony Nese and Alan Angels. This was a nice one that I liked. It's from the January 4th, funnily enough, episode of AEW Dark number 124. It's the opening match, and I don't think there was anything else on the card that surpassed it. It was a fun, athletic match. Nese has some high-level skill sets, move sets, and Alan Angels is somebody who is able to bounce around wherever he needs to. So this was a nice, athletic match. But the one thing that I guess we do kind of need to talk about, and by do kind of, I mean we do need to talk about it, is the no disqualification match between Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela. This is from Dark 123. It aired on the 28th of December, and it's the capstone for the Kiss Janela feud. This is a feud that has been going on for some time. It hasn't been start and stop, but it has been a little bit here, then we had to wait some weeks, and then a little bit here, and so on and so forth. So I can understand why some people may have cooled off on the feud. But it is something that has been on a slow burn for, God, I want to say maybe a year now. And I think they delivered. I appreciate wholeheartedly the fact that this match was on Dark. I don't appreciate the fact that they did not do a lot of promo for this on Dynamite. This is actually something that would have been really good to promo on Dynamite and see if you can, quote unquote, pop a rating for Dark. Because, yeah, Dark's free. Anybody can watch it, so on and so forth. The rest of the card may not be that great, but this is how you can see whether or not Dynamite can really push other products. And that's really the name of the game. So I think they did a disservice to the match and to the two performers for not better promoting it on Dynamite. But I understand why. Maybe they were just like, it's the blow off for the feud. It hasn't really been that big of a deal. But having the promo on Dynamite would have helped make it a big deal. But let's talk about the match itself. The match itself is a nice little demolition derby of a fight. Janella is really good at the street fight, no DQ kind of stuff. We've seen him do this in GCW, the Janella Spring Break stuff. We've seen him do it in different promotions around the country. Sonny Kiss is matching him here, and the influence or the presence of Kayla Rossi is definitely felt throughout the course of this match. We do get blood. We do get color from the people involved. We do get Janelle triumphing over Sonny Kiss, as he should. Janella is clearly the larger star, but also the person that they can kind of do more with. I don't know if necessarily Sonny Kiss's contract is going to get renewed when it does come up, but Janella is somebody that they have options with, and Janella was always the person that was supposed to win the feud. So it's just a question of whether it is too little too late for Janella, and what exactly is going to be happening with Sonny Kiss. Because if there's one thing that Sonny Kiss has proven, it's that Sonny has the ability, he does have the ability to have some pretty good matches. But whether or not Sonny is all elite may be a different story. Now, you could argue that the platform has not been there all the time for Sonny to be able to show off those talents. And I would agree with you. It's tough for AEW because they're still growing and they're growing pains that they're going through, but they need to be able to do things like the promo for Dark, the promo for Elevation, better than they are currently. And that's something I think they will get better at. But unfortunately, I don't know if Sonny will still be with the company to really reap the benefit from that. I don't even know if Janella will be, if I'm being honest with you. So that is something that I hope we get some improvements on in the future. It's definitely something that they do need to work on. But the match was a really good main event. It went the length of time that it should go. I think it was like a 13-minute match. Yeah, 13 minutes, 47 seconds. And they gave it their all. They gave it their all, which is really all you can ask for. So I had a good time watching that match. If you get a chance to watch it, I mean, it's on YouTube. Might as well. So, yeah, it just seems like a treading water kind of bit for NWA, and we'll see what continues to happen with Dark and Elevation. I think that maybe introducing some kind of championship. I know I've said this before on Dark Powerrr. So first off, my idea would be to switch the shows. I would be taping Elevation in Orlando and taping Dark before Dynamite as they normally do for Elevation. And then I would give Elevation its own championship. And I would say that if somebody do the same thing with the NWA TV title, where if somebody successfully defends the Elevation title, I don't know, 5, 6 times, whatever, our number's arbitrary, they can vacate that title and get a shot against the TNT champion. And they would be able to kind of leapfrog the rankings. But if you think about it, if somebody has had the Elevation Championship, they've had 6 or more title defenses, they probably have a good record to begin with. So they should kind of be up there on the win-loss rankings anyway. And for somebody who is interested in getting the TNT title, it may be a really great way to put star power on Dark that sometimes Dark doesn't have. You can build feuds, you can build storylines within what's happening on Dark. Well, I mean, now the Elevation show, because I'm not saying switch them. If you are using your TV a little bit better than to just say, hey, we're going to have over 90 minutes of action on YouTube. It's just a thought. We're in a new year. Let's try some new things. So until next time, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of Dark Powerrr. I appreciate all of the time that we spend together, these fireside chats. I don't know why I'm calling them that, the old FDR thing from World War II. But I appreciate this time, and I appreciate the attention that you guys give the channel. So thank you for tuning in. Remember, if you are interested, hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe if you have not already. If you're interested, $3 is the minimum, the base level Patreon tier, and we appreciate all the support, whether you are a Patreon member or not. So until next time, guys, remember, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. We're in a new year, new you, all that kind of fun stuff.